tonight. I'm Joanna from Wise Bites. Before lockdown, I was doing workshops in community groups and schools, just teaching people about cookery and healthy eating. And since lockdown, I've been doing a lot of online workshops. I did one with the RNIB last week, and I don't know if any of you were on it, but I got good feedback, so that's why I invited you to come on tonight. Paula had said that the invitation for women to come to this was open to everybody, so these are all welcome. I will be doing chicken goujons and garlic fries, okay? So it'll take about an hour, over an hour, but it's really, really simple, easy way to cook chicken, and it's healthy. It's a healthier form of, like, not processed food. So it's just a lot of my ingredients that I use are fresh, and I use a lot of vegetables, and try and use as much healthy food as I can in the recipes, and everybody seems to love them anyway. So we'll kick off. So the first thing I'm going to do, so earlier on I did some potatoes. I just grabbed them here. So I've peeled and washed some spuds, okay? These ones are just Maris Pipers, okay? So I just want to grab a cloth here. So these ones are just Maris Piper. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut them into wee cubes. I'm going to cut them into little cubes, and then I'm going to bring them to the boil for about 5 or 6 minutes, okay? I'm going to boil the kettle. I have the kettle boiled. I'm just going to press the button 2 seconds. So if you're going to use a chopping board, it's a good idea to put a damp cloth underneath it, okay? And it'll keep your board nice and steady. All right. Now, if you get your spuds and you feel them, and cut them down the middle, okay? And then we're just going to cut them into. I'm just going to cut them into cubes, okay? So I've just cut them into halves, and then I've cut them into 6 out of each half. But these are quite big, okay? And then just be careful when you're cutting. You can use like a bridge cut, and you can use your knife and stick your knife underneath the bridge, as you say, your thumb and your index finger. Put your knife underneath it and just cut it, okay? And then just cut them into chunks and put them into your pot. So I have the kettle boiled, and I'm just going to use boiling water and bring them back up to the boil for about 5 minutes. This is called parboiling, okay? So it's a really easy way of making potatoes. It's also a bit healthier than, I'm just going to put that wee bit out. So it's a bit healthier than using deep fat fryers. I don't use deep fat fryers, even though my kids are always asking me to get a deep fat fryer, but I never use it. I use very little oil when I'm cooking. If you have a hot oven and good quality oil, you can use a wee drop of it, and you don't need to use too much oil when you're cooking. So just use your bridge cut, put your knife underneath, and then just cut it down the middle, all right? And then cut them into chunks. And I'll just do one more. These spuds are quite big. These are nice because when they're done, they're crunchy on the outside, and they're sorry, I'm seeing some messages. So sorry, yes, I have the oven on at 180 degrees, okay? And that's going to do the potatoes, and that will do the chicken as well, all at the same temperature. Okay, so that's gas marked 6 or 180 degrees. If you have a fan oven, it's usually 200, but we put it down to 180 just. If you have a fan oven, it's 180 degrees, okay? So that's just the potatoes. Now I'm just going to bring the kettle over. And then just pour the water over, just cover them, okay? You don't want to put too much water in, just cover it up, and then we're going to put it on the cooker here and let it come to the boil. I'm going to put a lid on it as well, all right? And then just let that come to the boil. And we're going to put the tray. So I use a tray with a little bit of grease-proof paper and olive oil. If you want to save up and wash it up. So I'm going to use this glass dish here, okay? I'm going to put it in just to heat it up and just to have it hot. So whenever your potatoes are ready, we're going to drain them and take all the water and shake them. And we're going to cook them in the oil in here, okay? So I'm just putting this in the oven. I'll just get rid of this kettle. So just give me a second. So it's a good idea to have a cloth beside you. Keep your area nice and clean as you go along. And when you're chopping, keep a wee cloth underneath your board, and then it stops it from slipping. So the next thing I'm going to do the chicken. I'm going to prepare the chicken, okay? So I'm using chicken fillets that I can find them. Here they are here. So I'm just using chicken breasts, okay? Now, when you're using raw meat, you have to be really, really careful, okay? Because especially poultry, there's a lot of there's a bacteria called Campylobacter, which can cause food poisoning. So it's really important when you're cooking or cutting chicken or handling raw meat, especially chicken, you wash your hands immediately after, okay? Now I'm just going to put this in here. So I'm going to have the ingredients on this side. So I'm going to keep my raw ingredients here, and then I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to put it into here, okay? And then what I'm going to do afterwards, I'm going to put the chicken into flour, and then beaten egg and breadcrumbs, and then we're going to cook it in the oven instead of deep frying them. So they're nice. We don't use that much oil, and they're really, really nice and nice and crunchy. So when you get your chicken, if you feel around, you'll see there's some wee kind of bits of grizzly bits. If you can get your butcher to cut this for you, if you want to buy these in the butcher, you can also buy them already filleted, so they're already cut in strips. So you don't have to do this part, okay? And then what you do is just cut them down into long strips, okay? So run your knife down diagonally into long strips, okay? And then just leave them in there. Now, as I was saying, it's really important once you do this that you wash your knife and you wash your chopping board, okay? And don't ever use the same board. I'm sure you don't anyway. I don't want to insult your intelligence. But just be careful that you don't use the same knife or the same chopping board on other food. It's okay if you're using it on other raw meat, but if you're going to use it on other food, make sure you wash your knife, wash your board, and clean down your area, okay? And so I have 4 breasts of chicken, so I'll just cut them up here because I've 5 hungry men here waiting on their dinner, so I might as well do this. And that'll be kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say. So I'm just cutting off these wee bits. So you can buy these already cut off from your butchers, okay? So that will save you the job if you don't really want to cut them yourself, okay? And then we'll just cut them down this way. Did anybody last week make the fajitas? I know Louise, is Louise on tonight?
She is, Joanna, and Louise.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, I did. They were absolutely gorgeous. Everybody loved them, Joanna. So a great success.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's great. Yeah, they're so handy, aren't they?
Yeah, they were great, and they used them for wraps the next day as well.
Oh, did they? That's brilliant. So
yeah.
If everybody signed up today, I sent a copy of, I think there's 5 weeks recipes, a 6-week recipe book. So last week's and the week before's are in it, okay? And then as Paula said, the videos are there as well. You can watch them.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I'm just going to wash my hands. as I was saying, whenever you're using raw meat, just make sure that you wash down everything, wash your hands, and that there's no raw meat. You're not touching anything else with raw meat, okay? Because food poisoning is one of the main causes of death. You know, there's a lot of people can die from food poisoning in the UK. There's so many cases of it, and a lot of people will blame having a takeout or something that they eat in a restaurant, you know, but a lot of the time it's actually from poor food hygiene at home. So if you're doing chicken and you've cut it up, or you have your chicken, don't leave it sitting out too long, because bacteria starts to grow in your chicken. So always keep it at in the fridge, covered and at a nice low temperature. But because I'm going to be using it, I'm leaving it out, obviously. So in here I have, now these are just breadcrumbs that I bought, okay? But if you have spare bread, you can make, you know, in your blender. It's a great way of using up old bread that's in your bread bin. There's never any spare bread in this house because they eat everything. So, but you can buy these breadcrumbs. They're already crumbed. Now you can use the pack, you know, the Paco breadcrumbs or panko breadcrumbs. They're very, very fine. You can use them as well. But these are handy. They're a bit more coarse. Now sometimes if you have bread lying around, you can put it into your oven and dry it out, and then use your blender, and it makes them really, really fine. But I find them ones there are fine. They're okay. So I'm going to use, so in here I have some salt, some pepper, and some paprika, okay? So if you just want to use a pinch, just a couple of pinches of paprika. Now this is smoked paprika I'm using, but you can use cayenne pepper, or you can put a bit of chili powder in it as well. So I'm just going to do a couple of pinches of salt as well, just to give the breadcrumbs a little bit of a flavour, and some white pepper, okay? So that's just to flavour the breadcrumbs, okay? Some people don't like spices in their breadcrumbs, so you don't have to put anything in at all. You can just put the pepper and the salt in, all right? And then with the flour, I do the same. I just add a little bit more paprika and a bit more salt. So it's just really a pinch. That's all you need. Just use your hands and just a wee pinch. And then just mix it up, okay? Just mix it all up. All right? And then I use the flour first, then I use eggs, and then I use breadcrumbs. So I'm going to I'm going to beat up some eggs. So I have a wee bowl here. So for this recipe, I'm going to use 4 eggs, because I'm just going to move all that over there. Okay, so we'll just going to crack the eggs into the bowl, and then always keep like a wee bowl beside you for your rubbish, and then just crack them in with the side and pull them out like that, okay?
Joanna, Patricia's just asked, did you put paprika in the breadcrumbs as well as flour?
Yes, I did, yeah. But you don't have to, Patricia, you don't have to. Just gives them a bit more flavour, all right? And then I'm just going to use, I have a whisk here. I'm going to use my whisk. I'm sorry, I forgot to get milk. I'm just going to grab milk out of the fridge. So for 4 eggs, then I see what I say in the recipe. I add milk. I don't think I put milk on that actually. I didn't put milk on it, but I always add milk to the eggs because it makes it go a bit further. Okay, so that's about a 1/4 pint of milk, and add it in. Okay, and then just give that a good beating up. So what that's doing is it's giving a coating to your chicken. Now, if you want to keep your chicken breast, if you want to keep your chicken breast whole, you can. I would just, if I was doing a chicken breast, I would cut it diagonally, you know, cut it like horizontally down the middle, and then I would just pan fry it and it'll quicker. So you can kind of have like a bigger piece of chicken if you want. So this is kind of what they do in hotels when they're doing chicken Kiev. or garlic mushrooms. You can do that. You can do vegetables. You can do this for vegetables as well, you know. So I'm just keeping an eye on the spuds there. So I'm just gonna let them boil for just 2 more minutes. Let me get all this ready. So flour, egg, and breadcrumb, okay? And then we'll just add the chicken up here. All right, so I'm just gonna move all this over here. So then I have a couple of trays here that I have, I've just put greaseproof paper on them, okay? And I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil. I just put a wee bit of olive oil in the middle. And then I'm going to use a pastry brush, like an egg brush, and just bring it all out to the edge. And the reason I do this is because I want to put it in the oven to heat it up. Because whenever the crumb of the chicken, when it hits it, it goes crunchy. If you put it in cold, it just makes it soggy. So I like to coat it with oil. Just a wee bit of oil, you don't need that much. And it makes them crunchy on both sides then. All right, so I'm going to put these into this electric oven. Give you 2 seconds. Now, I have the dish out of the oven for the potatoes, and I'm going to strain the potatoes, so give me 2 seconds. So what I'm going to do is, I have like a sieve, and I'm going to stand it in the sink, okay? So it's like a colander. I'm going to stand it in the sink and tip the potatoes into it and drain all the water, okay? So just give me 2 seconds.
Paula, thanks for letting me in. I got in at last.
No problem, Mary, is it?
Oh yeah, indeed. Oh, Paula, I'm a torture to you, but anyway.
No, you're not. That's why my number's on that. So if you've any problems, you just give me a ring. It's no problem.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
I missed the beginning of Patricia's wee talk, but I'll pick it up, I hope.
No problem. It'll be up on the YouTube channel anyway. We'll send you the links tomorrow. And I'll send you all the recipe book. I don't know if Anne-Marie sent it out today, but for everybody to get all the recipes from the whole course.
Okay.
So that'll be sent out tomorrow as well, okay?
Paula, that'd be great, because I couldn't get onto YouTube, but it's me. It's not you, it's me.
No, you're not that bad.
I'm not worse than that even. But anyway, I'll not.
Too much. You didn't miss too much. I have just in this saucepan here, okay, I have cut up potatoes into cubes, into big cubes, and I've parboiled them, and I'm just draining them now. And I've got a dish with oil, and I'm going to toss them in the oil, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to toss them in.
And roast them.
And roast them, yeah.
Lovely.
Then whenever these cook, I'm going to add some garlic butter at the end. Just not too much garlic butter, but just to give them a really nice flavour. Because the ones you get, if you go out to a restaurant, the ones you get are swimming in butter, okay? So these ones just have, at the end, we just have a wee drop of butter on them, but they're really delicious. And I'm going to add a wee bit of salt, okay? So just pinch of salt. Now we're trying to cut down on salt. We're not going to use too much salt. Just a wee bit of pepper, okay?
Anna Mary's asked, is the oil for the potatoes heated up first?
Yeah, I put the oil in the potatoes, okay? The dish is roasting hot. I've had the dish in the oven for about 10 minutes, Mary. Okay, and a bit of black pepper. All right, and then I'm just going to toss them up and then put them back in the oven. All right, so put these on the top of the oven, okay? And just put
Hot oven, Patricia.
bit of it.
A hot oven.
So yeah, the oven is at 180 degrees, okay?
Fine.
So the oven's nice and hot. And then in this bowl, Mary, I have chicken breasts that I've cut up, the chicken fillets. I'll pull them back a bit. So they're just like chicken strips, okay?
Mhm.
They're about the size of your finger, okay? A bit longer if you have long hands. Mine are a bit short.
Yeah, mine's short too.
And in the flour, I have a bit of seasoning. I have some paprika and some salt and pepper. And I have eggs with some milk. So I have about 4 eggs and a quarter pint of milk. And then I have breadcrumbs here, which I bought in a bag. So I'll show you the bag actually. I think they're from Lidl, okay? So they're a 400-gram bag should do this whole 4 breasts of chicken, okay?
Fine.
So, and I have the trays in the oven there. I have trays heating up in the oven. So I'm just going to get them out now.
Yeah.
And I'll just show you what I do. I'm going to move all this over here. And we'll do that, okay? And then I'm going to show you how to make a few wee dips as well to go with them. Now, I'm just taking one tray out. I'm just going to take one tray out and leave it sitting there for a minute. Can everybody see what I'm doing?
Yep.
Yeah. I'll maybe put everything back a bit so you have a better view, okay? So, so start off, put some of your chicken into the flour, okay? Just coat it all, just turn it around in it and keep one hand clean. Now, if you have gloves, you can use gloves. This is a great job for kids. The kids love this. They love feeling the flour. And when you get the chicken into the flour, just shake it, okay? Shake off the flour, dip it into the egg, and then just repeat that, okay? Just keep doing that. Now you can do this with sliced courgettes, aubergines. It's delicious. You can do it with like whole mushrooms. Just give them a good wash. What else? There's loads of different things you can use. You know, if you notice, you know, like your starter in the restaurant with brie cheese. You know, you get it like breadcrumbs. It's exactly the same. You just do this: flour, egg, and breadcrumbs, and stick it in the oven on a hot tray for 5 or 6 minutes, and then your cheese is nice and melted. So there's loads of different things you can do. So whenever I'm giving you the recipes every week, they're more or less the basics of what you can do. Then you use your imagination. You know, add more. Like I was saying last week, I have like lots of spices and herbs, and once you have them, you can add them. Somebody asked me a question. Can it be done without flour? Yeah, you can do just egg and breadcrumbs, yeah. Or if you're gluten-free, you can use gluten-free flour and gluten-free crumbs. Yeah, it's just the flour gives it more of a, you know, when you bite into it, there's like it's like a protection thing on the chicken.
Mhm.
So so I'm just going to clean my hands. Yeah, so you don't have to use flour.
You could use fish, or you could do that with fish too, Patricia.
Yes, you can do with fish. Yeah, last night I did this with cod. I made codfish fingers.
Mm.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm.
You can. Or you can do yeah, you can do with any like white fish. You can do it with salmon as well. I do this like wee salmon bites.
Yeah.
I cut the salmon into little squares and do this like wee salmon bites. Now, if you want to add like seeds to this as well, you can, you know, like sesame seeds.
Oh, yeah.
You can, you know, pumpkin seeds and sesame seeds, you can do that as well, okay? So then you just get your chicken, right, okay? Take it out of the chicken, out of the egg and let it drip. And then just do a couple of pieces at a time because you don't want to, you want the crumbs to stick to each piece. So whenever you're doing it, you'll feel that it's not, when it's not wet anymore, you'll know it's covered with the crumbs, okay? So if you keep one hand, then put it on your tray. So when you're putting it on your tray, if you keep it, just don't lie it up against each other because it goes soggy. So if you just press on your chicken, you'll know you have enough crumbs when it's not feeling slimy, or you know when you feel, you know the way when you feel raw chicken. So, and you don't feel the egg on it. Now, if you don't want to use eggs, you can also just use milk, okay? Another thing you can use is like buttermilk. You can use buttermilk and then add crumbs to it.
Mm.
There's loads of different ways you can do it. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do a couple of trays and then that'll be it. So I'm just going to spread it out. So on this tray here, this tray is probably 10 by 10, and I've got about, I'll get about 8 to 10 on it. Okay, so that's a square tin. So I'll get about 10 chicken goujons on that tray, and you just don't want them to be stuck together because you want them to be nice and crunchy. And because the oil on the tray is hot, then so what I do, I'll show you now, once I put them all on, is suppose everybody's in everyone's house loves chicken goujons, don't they? They come in really handy for dinners.
That's right.
But to make your own, they're so much nicer and they're so easy. Another trick, okay, is I'm going to show you. So once you put them on the tray, then turn them over. So once they've set in the oil for a few minutes, turn them over, okay? And then that means both sides of them are coated in oil. All right. I'll just do one more on this tray here and spread it out. All right. Now I'm going to put this in the oven. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to wash my hands first. On this other tray here, I'm going to do a few on this one because this tray is roasting, okay? And then just keep spreading them. So if you want to make these and freeze them, so what you do is put them onto a tray, on a cold tray, okay? And put them into your freezer, just like on the tray, stick them into your freezer if your freezer's big enough, okay? And when they're frozen, all you do then is take them out and you can put them into like freezer bags and put them back in the freezer. So whenever you need them, you have them there. And then all you do then is take them out a couple of hours or the night before, you know, before you need them. Make sure they're defrosted, and then you have your dinner. So it's if you ever get time and if you get a bit of peace, well, I never get any peace here, but if anyone gets any peace, just to take it a couple of hours to do this, or you know, just to get your freezer stacked. And you could do it with fish, do it with cod, and you'd have like a bag of chicken goujons and a bag of fish fingers in your freezer, all ready to go. So just be careful when you're defrosting them that you make sure you defrost them before you cook them, okay? Whenever you're cooking them, I would just put them on a hot tray, just as I'm doing here, with oil on the bottom of the tray, and then just turn them over. All right, so I've just put them on the tray and let them sit for 2 minutes, and then turn them over so they're coated. I'll just do one more.
Joanna, you said you could use milk or egg. Why would you use one over the other? What would be the benefit, or which would you prefer? I prefer the egg and the milk. Yeah, because it gives it more color. It colors the crumb as well. You know, when it hits the oil. Yeah. It's more golden brown. So, and it gives it more texture inside as well when you bite into it. Yeah. But some people can't eat eggs, so I understand that. But I'm just going to put these over here. I'm just going to wash my hands again. And then I'm just going to put these into the oven, okay? And then I'm just going to give another clean down. All right. So if you're cooking, it's good to be organized and have all your ingredients prepared and have everything ready, especially when you're doing a job like that, because you don't want to be stopping in the middle of it to open up packets or, you know, look for trays. Have everything sitting so when you're doing it, then it's just easy, and then you just have to clean up after, tidy it up. So has anyone got any questions for me? I'll sit down for 2 minutes.
There's one from Patricia.
Right, I'm going to check the chat here. Give me 2 seconds. It's 180 for chicken goujons, Patricia. Yeah. It can be done without flour. The oil for the potatoes is heated up first. Yeah, I put a bit of oil on the dish when I put it in the oven. I only put a little bit on the bottom, and I'm just using olive oil. Okay, just you can use rapeseed oil or sunflower oil. Okay, just try and use healthy oils. Did she put paprika in the breadcrumbs? I did. I put it into both of them. And what temperature do you cook them in the oven? So in my oven, it's a fan oven. So I have it on 180 degrees. So it's still hot, and then the crumbs will, you want the crumbs, you know, the goujons to be crunchy. But you also want the chicken to be nice inside and tender.
And how long would you cook them for then, Louis or Joanna?
Cook them in for about 15, 20 minutes, okay? It depends how big you cut them, okay? I would say 15 minutes anyway, and then we'll check them. So how you know they're cooked, the outside will be nice and golden brown, and you'll feel that it'll be kind of like hard. The skin will be kind of hard, or the crust will be hard. And when you break into it, if you're cutting it, it should just cut straight through. And if it's rubbery, then you know, put it back in. But if you can cut with your knife straight through it, you know, you'll know. And if it's obviously not pink. But if you can cut with your knife, you should. If you can feel the texture when you're cutting, you know it's rubbery. Put them back into the oven. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is have some dips. I'm just going to make a few little dips. Now last week didn't we do dips last week for the fajitas? Can you remind me, girls? Because I have done that many.
Yeah.
You did dips.
Yeah.
I think it was last week, yeah.
I'm thinking that too, wasn't it last week?
Yeah, because I think actually Joanna, Louise had asked me what your recipe for the dips were. I don't know if you included it in your wee program.
I didn't include it, but I'll tell you what, I'll send you the link, Paula, and then if you can pass it out to everyone.
I will, yes.
That too, yeah. I'll remember to do that tomorrow. It's just I'm doing another program on a Monday night and a Friday night, and I'm kind of doing similar stuff, so I kind of forget whether I've done the same thing or not. I don't want to be repeating myself.
You're right.
So here I have last week, for anyone that wasn't here, I just did salmon.
Joanna, sorry, could I ask one question before you move on there? I've put the goujons onto a tray on tin foil. Can I put that into the oven or into the freezer like that with the tin foil on the tray? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry, thank you.
Sorry, I forgot to ask, is there anyone cooking along with me tonight?
Yes, I am.
All right, who's that?
Yeah. Louise.
Louise from Holland, she cooks every week.
Yes.
Yeah, put them into your freezer and leave them for a couple of hours till they're hard, and then once you feel them hard, put them into freezer bags. Put them back in the freezer, yeah. And
Great,
then
thank you.
When you need them, yeah. Are you going to cook any tonight in the oven?
No, I'm going to put them in the freezer now.
Right, and but you can put them in your fridge as well. The best thing to do would be if you had greaseproof paper. If you want to do these the night before, and put greaseproof paper on your tray and then spread them out. And then when you're finished doing that, if you have another layer, put another layer of greaseproof paper on top of them ones, and you can layer them up. And then cover it all with cling film and put it into the bottom of your fridge. Or if you want to use them tomorrow night, you know, if you want to prepare them, say in the morning time for dinner, do what I did on a cold tray. And if you had greaseproof paper, that would be better. Tin foil, but just cover them with cling film and make sure you store them at the bottom of your fridge, because you don't want, if you have any raw meat, always keep it at the bottom of your fridge, but I'm sure you'll know that anyway.
Patricia, did you say that you didn't have to let them go cold before you put them into your freezer or into your fridge even? Did you say you could put them?
Oh, sorry, I'm saying, you know the way I've just done them there and have them on the tray?
Yeah.
You can do that, and then when you crumb them, then you can stick them into your fridge and use them later on. You don't have to cook them straight away.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I know that. But did you say in the midst of the, you know, when you were telling us earlier, that whenever they're cooked and all, that you can put them into the fridge warm before you put them into your freezer to freeze them? You'd have to let them go cold.
No, I was saying, sorry, who's speaking to me there? I can't
Oh,
see.
it's Mary, another Mary, Mary Hughes.
I was saying, whenever we crumb them the way I did it, and then I put them into the fridge, into the oven at 180 degrees.
Yeah,
And if you don't want to put them into the oven, you can cook them, or you can coat them in all the crumbs, and then cover them with cling film and put them in your fridge.
yeah,
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Or else you can put them in your freezer, and then they're still raw. And when you put them in your freezer, they go hard, and you can take them out and put them into freezer bags.
yes,
So,
yes,
so whenever you want to cook them, you have to let them defrost for a few hours until they're soft, until you feel that they're soft, and then you can cook them in a hot oven. That's what I'm saying. Sorry if you took me up wrong. It's my Dublin accent. You probably can't understand me.
No, I do totally understand you. But whenever then, when they're cooked and all, before, if you still want it, you can freeze them cooked. Isn't that
Yeah,
right?
you can, yeah, but just make sure you cool them down. That's all. Make
Yes,
sure.
that's what I mean. They have to be cold.
Yeah,
before-
let them go completely cold. That's
So-
for any food that you're going to put in your freezer. It has to be completely cold,
That's
because
what-
if it's not, it's still cooking. It's still, and the bacteria can grow in it. So
that's right. That's what I thought. For anything to go into the freezer has to be totally cold.
yeah, yeah. Or your fridge, Mary, or your fridge.
Or fridge, I should say. Yeah, fridge or freezer. Thanks, Patricia.
All right, it's Joanna. I'm Joanna.
Joanna, I
Girl,
keep calling you Patricia. What about confused woman?
I know. I'm confused myself. Here I have like tinned tomatoes I've opened up. Okay, so this is chopped tomatoes, tinned chopped tomatoes, and I'm just going to use. This is for anyone that wasn't here last week. Okay, so I'm just taking a couple of spoonfuls and I'm putting them into this wee ramekin. It's just like a small ramekin. Okay. Then I'm going to use a bit of coriander. Wait till I have a look for me. Sorry, I'm going to get my herbs out. So a pinch, just a wee pinch of coriander into the ramekin, okay? Now this is really nice if you make that. If you make this in the morning time, and let the flavor sit, it's really nice. And then I'm going to add some onion to it as well. I'm just using. I don't have any red onion, but you can use red onion if you have red onion, okay? So just put the cloth on your chopping board so it doesn't slip, okay? And then just cut your onion down the middle. Now we're going to cut this really, really fine. I'm going to use my better knife. Just cut it really, really fine, okay? So I was showing ladies last week about when you're cutting an onion that if you don't cut into the root, it stops you from crying, okay? If you cut the roots, that's how you get tears in your eyes when you're cutting onions. So I keep the root on at the end, okay? And I cut off the top of the onion, the part that comes out of the ground. And then I cut it down in half, and then I just follow. There's like rims on the onion, just follow your knife all the way down from one side to the other, and then cut it in half. Then you just have to do like wee tiny cuts. Now when you're using your knife, be really careful. And if you use your other hand like a claw when you're cutting, keep your fingertips pointing at your elbow, keep them in and keep them back, and use it like a claw and hold the food when you're cutting. It means you don't cut your fingers. A lot of people tend to keep their hands flat out, and then they end up cutting their fingers and cutting the top of their nail.
My knife would hardly cut your finger, Joanne.
Well, do you know what, Mary? If you're out and about, invest in a good knife, because the blunter your knife is, the more dangerous it is.
I would believe.
You're putting more pressure on, and you're going to cut yourself if you're putting more pressure on it. Because with a sharp knife, all you do with a sharp knife then is really, really gently. You're just going back and forward like a saw, See the way I do that? Or if you have a sharp knife or a blunt knife, you're just pressing down, and then you tend to cut yourself more.
Yeah.
So
I have to sharpen them.
yeah, or sharpen your knives. Yeah. I have a good. Where's my wee sharpener? I have one of these long ones. It's got a black handle and it's shiny, like a silver. And I it for sharpening. It's really good.
Like the old-fashioned way of doing it, Joanna.
Buy one of the blocks, you know, the ones you sit on the island or sit on your counter, and you just run your knife back and forward. They're just as handy as well.
Yeah.
They're really handy. So I'm just mixing up the salsa with the coriander, and then I'm going to add this chopped onion into it as well. Okay. Now this is really nice if it's left sitting, as I was saying, for a few hours. But this is really nice with the chicken goujons. All right. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. I'm going to add a wee bit more of the tomatoes, tin tomatoes. Okay, so when you're making salsa, if you buy good tins of tomatoes for salsa rather than the cheap ones, they taste better. I find that anyway. So the dearer tomatoes are nicer for this kind of salsa, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use that for dipping, for making, when you make wedges, and at last, if you put it in a fridge, put it in your fridge, cover it up in a tub. It'll last for nearly a week in your fridge, you know, and it's so handy. It's so handy. You can have it on the side of a lot of dishes, you know. You can use it as a pizza sauce as well. It's really, really handy. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take out the potatoes and turn them over. Now the potatoes are starting to crunch up, so I'm going to get my spatula and just turn them, my egg slicer, and I'm just going to turn them over. Okay, just toss them in the oil. Now there's not that much oil in them. All right, and I'm going to put them in for another probably 8 minutes. They still need a little bit of color. So you'll know when the potatoes are ready whenever you get a knife and the knife goes through them and they're nice and soft. And the outside will feel crunchy and they're kind of like a goldy brown.
Mm.
So another wee sauce that I'm going to make is creme fraiche. Okay, so I'm just going to use a wee bit of creme fraiche. It's something similar to what we made last week, ladies. It's just you can use different creamy things for making sauces. So this is like a rich and creamy creme fraiche. It's a bit like fresh cream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some Greek yogurt. So this is low-fat Greek yogurt, and I'm going to add that into it as well, just so the fat content is not really high, because you don't want it to be. You want to keep an eye on the hips and watch the weight. Because all this overeating in lockdown is not good for us, sure it's not. And then what I'm going to do now is I have a little bit of mint, so you can use a little bit of mint. So I'm just going to use a pinch of mint, okay? And then I'm going to use some fresh garlic. I have a garlic crusher here. This is a really good garlic crusher, because what I do is crush down with the back of a knife, okay? Now these little garlics, I don't know, I got these in Lidl, and they're like a clove of garlic. It's like 1 clove of garlic, so I just use a wee bit of it. So sometimes you buy the bulbs and you can peel off you peel off each clove. Well, this one is just like 1 clove. So I'm just going to stick it in my crusher, and then I'm going to squeeze it. This is a really good crusher. It's real heavy. See, someone's saying something there.
It's just Patricia saying she's the only one asking questions.
All right, ask away.
Can I just say to everybody else, that anybody that's new, don't be afraid to unmute yourself and ask a question if you want, or make a comment, or if you want to put it in the chat function, that's fine too.
Yeah, the chat function is down the bottom. If you click on it, it'll say chat, and then you can put a message in, type a message if you want to ask, or as Paula said, unmute yourself. Now I'm also going to put in the juice of half a lemon, okay? So I've cut the lemon down the middle, okay? Now what I do when I'm doing this is I put my hand over it, okay? And I squeeze the lemon into my hand and get rid of the pips, okay? It saves all the pips going in. All right. And there's your nice, this is like, it's a really nice garlic dip.
Kelsey has said, Joanna, Kelsey has said there that you can buy frozen chopped onion and frozen garlic in Tesco, which is very handy.
Yeah, that's great, Kelsey. Yeah, there's loads of vegetables you can buy that's already prepared that you don't have to cut up yourself. There's lots of like frozen vegetables are brilliant because, as you know, you only use them when you need them. You don't have to throw them out. So if you can stack up on them, they're great to have. I would have like bags of fruit, like raspberries and blueberries and everything in the freezer. I don't really buy the frozen vegetables because I buy fresh vegetables every week. But for anyone that finds it hard to chop up vegetables, just buy the ones that's already pre-packed. Save yourself time and energy. It's great. It's a great idea. And you can buy bags of sliced mushrooms and peppers and all that's already frozen, and they're a great job. And as you know, like soup mixes, the vegetables are already cut up for you. There's loads. If you keep an eye out in the shops, there's loads of different. And even these dips, like you can buy these dips. You don't have to make them. If you're making your own chicken goujons, that's enough. And you can buy all the dips that are already pre-made. But it's just ideas for you because this one here with the creme fraiche. I've added mint to this, okay? But if you want to make this more herby, you can add more coriander or sage, or you can add any herbs to it if you want to make it nice and herby. But I'm just making it more kind of garlicky and a little bit of mint in it because it's really nice. And it goes really nice with curries, that dip as well. Okay, so I'm just going to check the goujons. Give me 2 seconds. These goujons are starting to brown. They're still a little bit soft, okay? So I'm going to turn them over because I've oiled them. I'm going to turn them over and finish them on the other side. And then they should be ready. And whenever you're checking, always feel for the big one, the biggest one, and then use that to see whether the rest of the chicken is cooked, And then just do like a wee salad to go with it. Just lettuce and cucumber and tomato. I have asbestos fingers, so I can touch hot things. It doesn't really bother me. Years of working in a kitchen, in a hotel kitchen, so it doesn't really bother me. So I'm just going to put these in for another few minutes. All right, then just going to do like a wee salad here. So I have some iceberg lettuce. Now you can buy this. Sorry, somebody's chatting to me there. I'll just have a look in the chat. You can buy your lettuce, as you know, already cut up, and your bags of salad already prepared. So don't be giving yourself extra work. Was somebody putting in a message there? I have a new messages. Hold on till I have a look. I made the chicken goujons this evening following your recipe. Let's see the pit wedges of the oven. Turned out lovely. Didn't do the dips, but we'll do next. Who's that? Pamela? Well done, Pamela. Hope they were nice. Chicken goujons look great. Yeah, they are actually. I can't wait to taste them. Tesco now has chopped garlic in the frozen food. Yeah, that's brilliant. So
they're actually lovely.
Sorry?
Freezer, and I had some breasts of chicken. And I've noticed that when I was stir frying chicken fillets, they're like rubbery and a bit tasteless. So these actually turned out lovely and kept the breast nice and moist.
Is this Pamela talking?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you say that again, Pamela?
I said I'm trying to use up things out of the. When you do chicken fillets, the texture isn't very good, but they turned out lovely.
Oh, very good. Did everybody enjoy them?
Yes, yes.
That's good. Yeah, they're nice with wraps as well. If you do them with wraps, with lettuce and tomato and the sauce, and wrap them up, they're delicious as well. And who doesn't
I just did.
Sorry, Pamela.
Yeah.
Pamela, your sound is a wee bit off.
You're
I chopped up a sweet, oh sorry. I did a sweet potato and salad.
lovely. Does your family like sweet potatoes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try and get my boys to eat sweet potatoes, but they're not that fond of them. But I do throw them into casseroles and stews and soups. They don't know they're eating them, so.
God, I love sweet potato. Sweet potato chips are lovely.
Yeah, like them. They if I was doing them, they wouldn't eat them. I'd have to do like ordinary potatoes, but they eat them with everything else, but they don't realize they're eating them. So
All right.
I'm just gonna wash this lettuce. I'm just going to dry this lettuce and just make a wee quick salad. So all I'm going to use is tomato, lettuce and cucumber, okay? I'm just going to chop it up really fine. So the same when you're using your onion, if you use your hands like a claw and hold, when you're using your hand like a claw, it gives you, you're able to hold the whole food in your hands no matter what size it is, you know? You squeeze it all in. And then I just turn the board and then just chop it into little, just chop it into little tiny dice as well. And then I'm going to put into this glass bowl here. And then I'm going to add, last night I made a dressing and I made, you know, like a salad dressing. So I'm going to use that as well on it. So the salad dressing was just 1 part oil or 1 part vinegar to 3 parts oil. And I put some garlic and some, mustard. I use Dijon mustard and garlic as well. So I'll give you that. I'll give you that recipe as well because it's really nice, and you can have it with your salad, you know. So with the tomatoes, I've already washed the tomatoes, and I'm just cutting them into little dice, and mix them in with this. All right. It'll soon be time for salads again. I can't wait. Salad time will soon be here again. So. Something to look forward to, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, you're all sick of stews and casseroles. So.
Brighter evenings come ahead, which is great.
Sorry?
Brighter evenings already. Well,
yeah, difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
There really is. It's great. And you can hear the birds singing. It's great.
Yeah. And there's snowdrops growing out my back garden already.
What have you got?
Snowdrops.
Oh, have you? I haven't seen ours yet.
Yeah.
I just bought daffodils the other day in Marks and Spencer's. I love the daffodils. But no, we usually have snowdrops, but we haven't got any. So the cucumber, I'm just cutting it into just little dice, okay? And then just throw it in. And I have a few spring onions here as well I'm going to use. I'm just going to peel the skin off them. So with the skin on the spring onions, if you feel on the outer skin, just peel it off. Okay. I'm about to throw them now. I'm just going to give these a quick wash. I'll just dry them really quickly and then put them in. So I can smell the chicken goujons now. I can smell them, they're nearly ready. And you just get that crunchy smell, you know, the crumb on them, you know, that they're ready. And then just throw that in there. Then just get a wee spoon and give it a good mix. Okay, now you can add olives or peppers, you know, whatever else you want to use, whatever else you put into your salads. Green beans, cooked beans, you know, you can add anything into that. But I'm just going to use this oil that I made last night. So this is it's just a jar. I had it. So it's one third of the, this is just a jam jar, an ordinary jam jar. So I put a teaspoon of mustard, a clove of garlic, and then I put just say the width of my index finger on the bottom of white wine vinegar, and then 3 finger marks up of oil. So that's just oil and vinegar dressing. I'll just serve that. I'm not going to put it on it, but I'll serve it whenever I'm eating. I don't know.
Just ordinary white vinegar?
Well, I use white wine vinegar, but you can use white vinegar, or you can use balsamic vinegar. You know, you can use white wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar, or you can use lemon juice if you haven't got any vinegar, just to get you need an acid in it, Mary, if you're going to use the oil, just to give it the sharpness. The thing is, don't put your oil into the salad if you're going to serve it. Always serve it on the side, because if you've any left over, then the next day you can't really eat it because it's very soggy. So I never put the dressing on it. I always wait until I'm serving it, okay? Or I put it in a wee jug and let everyone help themselves, because you end up the next day your salad is too soggy. So just going to get these out of the oven now. Give me 2 seconds. Just one thing I want to do actually before I forgot to do this is I'm going to melt a little bit of just ordinary butter. So a teaspoon of a heaped teaspoon of butter. Okay, this is just ordinary butter, and I'm going to add in another. Let me see, another clove of garlic. Okay, this is for the potatoes. I'm going to pour this over the potatoes when they come out of the oven, and they'll be nice and crunchy, and then they'll have this butter on them, and it's not too much butter. All right, so I'm going to put this in the microwave just for 2 minutes. I'm going to add a wee tiny bit of olive oil, just a wee drop. All right, a bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. All right, and I'm going to stick it in the microwave for 2 minutes. When I say 2 minutes, I don't literally mean 2 minutes. I mean 20 seconds. I say 2 minutes about everything, but it's 20 seconds, because your microwave will probably go on fire. So it's about 20 seconds. That's all. Yeah, so it's melted, and it only took 20 seconds. All right. Now these are nice and crunchy. Whenever you do this with the spatula, you can hear the crunch.
Yeah.
And they're really golden brown, and they smell delicious. So I'm just going to add this butter. I'm just going to pour the butter, drizzle it all over, okay? And then I'm just going to put them back in the oven until I get the goujons out. So they only go back in the oven for about 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes.
Are you sure it's not 20 seconds, Joanna?
2 minutes. And there's the goujons. Now to check that the goujons are done, if you get your knife, the back of your knife, and you'll hear the crunch, right? So if you find the biggest one, which would be this one here, I'm going to cut down. And when you're cutting down, if your knife goes right through it, yeah. So it's come off. I broke off the biggest part at the end, and the knife's gone right through. And you can see like the coating of the flour and the egg and the crumb on it. And it's really crunchy. So if you just bang your knife, you'll hear the crunch. You don't want them to be soggy, because if soggy goujons aren't that nice. So you want them to be nice and crunchy. So just give me 2 seconds. Yeah.
Joanna, sorry, Joan has asked, what was in the butter? What was put in the butter again, as it's not on the recipe sheet?
Is it not on the recipe sheet? Garlic fries, butter, oil, and 2 cloves of garlic. But I just put 1 clove of garlic in, okay? And all you do is put it in the microwave for 20 seconds. All right?
Right.
So now I'm just going to put some goujons on the plate, okay? Just plate them up. So 3 goujons probably be enough. Maybe three and a bit. Okay.
They're quite big.
Portion. And then, so we're going to put some of the salad on it. So just put a spoonful of your salad at the side. Okay. Just you can put grated carrot in this to give it a bit more color. You know, there's loads of different things you can put in it. I'm going to put some of the dip into like a wee small ramekin and just half fill it and keep it beside it. And then I'm going to put some of these.
I can smell it here, Joanne.
Sorry?
I can smell them here, Joanne. In Armagh. In Armagh, I can smell the beautiful smell.
It smells delicious, you wouldn't believe it. To make sure your potatoes are ready, stick your knife in it, okay? So the knife goes in, yeah, they're nice and soft, okay? They're nice and crunchy on the outside, you can hear the crunch, they're like roast potatoes, and then inside they're nice and flary, and that's the way you want them to be. So I'm just going to put them into one of these little dishes here, okay? And that's so we haven't really used that much oil, you know, it's kind of like low fat. We haven't used that much oil, and so they're quite healthy as well. Just going to put these back over here.
Lovely.
So there we go. There's now if you want to be fancy, and I've no chopped parsley today, but if you want to be fancy, just put a wee bit of green over it. All right, and a wee dollop of the garlic dip at the side. Okay, and there you go. There's your and everybody see.
Looks amazing, Joanna. Looks delicious.
Beautiful.
So that only took an hour, really. So if you were making the dinner, you'd have it ready in an hour, you know. So there's a boy just walked in the door. He literally smelled that.
I was going to say, Joanna, your children must eat very well, didn't it?
Yeah, well, like, do you know what? We just cook just normal food. I just don't buy processed food. I very rarely buy processed food, you know. Because I just think you can make it so easy yourself, you know.
Yeah. You make it look easy, but
You make it look easy, is right. Indeed.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? It's just like you can do the goujons sometime, like during the day when there's nobody about, or if you have a bit of peace, and put them in the fridge, you know, and then do your potatoes at another time. You don't have to do it all together. Then just have your trays heated up, put them into the oven. You know, you don't have to do all this together because for some people it's too much. So break it down, make your salad earlier on in the day, you know, peel your spuds in the morning time or chop them up, you know, and just have it all prepared. You don't have to do everything at the one time.
Yeah.
It's about preparing it. And the thing about doing the goujons is if you have an hour and a half to spare and you've loads of, buy a couple of packets of chicken and, you know, do the chicken goujons and put them in your freezer, then you have them for another couple of weeks dinners, you know.
Yeah.
And the same with the chicken that we done last week, we done fajitas. Louise, did you say you put yours in the freezer or did you use yours the next day?
So I just put them in the fridge and used them the next day, and they made wraps up with them.
Yeah. So yeah, so Louise made hers last week, the night, and then she used them the next day, you know. So it's all about preparing and, you know, giving yourself as less work as you can and try and be prepared and, you know, try and be organized. So that's what freezers are for. A lot of people don't believe in using their freezers for, like, they just use it for stuff and putting it in the freezer, like from the supermarkets. But your freezer can be used for, like, you just save yourself so much time if you have it all in the freezer, you know. So
Yeah.
Joanna, can I ask you to pull the plate back a wee bit towards you? Yeah, because I think it was too close to the bottom of the screen there. I couldn't really see it right.
you see it?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a photograph there.
I'm going to take a photograph, but it's going to be up on the video anyway. But
Yeah.
Joanne, is there any way that you can reheat roast potatoes? Not that I ever do, because I don't mind eating them cold, even.
Yeah, you know what? I would just heat the tray up, Mary, and put a bit of oil and have the tray really, really hot, and then throw it back onto the tray.
Yeah. In the oven for a few minutes. Yeah.
You can do that, Mary.
Yeah. Grand, thank you.
Yeah, if you're going, Mary, if you're going to make, Joe's just taking a picture of, you have to take a picture of the food, hold on.
Yeah, take a good picture of the plate and then send it to me, Joanne, will you?
Will do, yeah. All right.
But I'll be sending out the link to everybody for the video for YouTube tomorrow. So you can cook along whenever you like.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to take a picture of this because it's going to be gone in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'd say it will be.
Everybody, thanks very much. And
Thanks, Joanna.
I'll see you all next week. Can anyone remind me what we're making next week?
Can I tell you? Hold on. I think I know.
Is it week 4 next week? We're making fish next week, frittata. We're going to do salmon.
Yeah.
So next week I'll be showing you different ways to cook fish.
It's salmon, broccoli, and potato frittata with mixed bean salad.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
delicious.
I'll do another fish dish as well. So I'll show you a couple of ways to do fish, okay? Just because I know some people always struggle with fish. They don't know what way to cook it or what to do with it. So last night I did goujons, actually, goujons of cod. So it's very similar to what we've done with the chicken, but I'll not do that next week because you know how to do that now. It's the same process, the flour, the egg, and the breadcrumbs. And you cook it for probably 12 minutes. If you're doing the cod goujons, you just cut your cod up into strips, and they'll take about 12 minutes in the oven. The same way we've done the goujons. Heat your tray, have the oil on your tray, and have them nice and hot and crunchy. Okay. So see everybody next week. If everybody would like to go on to Paula's site, which is the Northern Ireland Rural Women's Network, and register with them, that would be brilliant. I know we had a bit of trouble today, and sorry about the delay and the connections today. We're getting logged on, but
I'd be afraid if the people that you sent the link to that didn't register through us, I don't want to lose them people, you know. So anybody that registered through Joanna can contact me at NIRWA, Northern Ireland Rural Women's Network. We have a website, and Anne-Marie can send you out. You can get our easy and all that. So
make sure you register with Paula, because they do lots of brilliant courses for women. So you don't want to lose out and miss out on all the opportunities. So thanks everybody for coming on, and I'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joanna.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Bye.